live on the air. I'm Richard Saile.
This is wild.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Lounge Time. I'm your host, Rich Saile, and today we're going to cover all of Week 3 today. I decided to do this episode right after the Monday Night Football game, which just concluded moments ago. And obviously right now, I would like to yell because I had a horrible week. Not just rooting-wise. Survivor finally went down in one of the pools. You know, if you've been paying attention to the show. Fantasy football. My worst start ever. I'm going to save it for the Lions-Raven game because it involves somebody in there that I have on my team. But I got to chill because it is going to be really late when I'm doing this. But you know what? I'm going to try to keep my cool. Although I am going to roast teams today. And hint, yo, Ham, we are not doing the Chiefs bandwagon, so this is not the episode today. And I will save the mercy of Giants fans because that was a game I turned off middle of the third quarter. I don't even want to talk about that game, all right? But what we are going to talk about is we're going to start talking about right now. Let's go based off Sunday's action first. And I want to talk about the one upset that kicked things off, which was the Packers and the Browns. Now, you guys are probably wondering right now, Rich, you picked the Packers to be your Super Bowl favorite. Are you concerned after this game? You want to know my answer? No. No. Do they have a lot to work on? Yes. What do I always say too? You're going to lose a game that you don't expect to lose, and you go, how did we lose that game exactly? Well, this was probably the game for Green Bay. But it was a game that a lot of people thought they wouldn't lose, especially with 10 days rest, mini bye. Jordan Love, that offensive line got whooped. 18 to 25 for 183, a touchdown and a pick. He didn't look impressive, but that offensive line had a rough game. And I've heard from a lot of people that Cleveland's defensive line is nasty with Mason Graham, Myles Garrett. Sheesh. I mean, let's go to the Browns first. Actually, no, we'll stay on Green Bay because they're the main team that everybody's wondering. Like, Rich, are they going to be good? Yeah, they're going to be fine. You know, I don't think they're going to have a hard time running the ball again like that many times. They only ran for 31 times for 81 yards, which 2.6. I don't expect them to be that awful. I don't. That will not happen many times. I really don't. Cleveland is one of those defensive lines that can be disruptive, especially with what they have. The only other defensive lines off the top of my head I can think of that might give them fits, and I'm trying to go based on who they have schedule-wise, might be the Eagles. Might be. I'm trying to think who they play AFC right now. I know I'm drawing a blank because I just watched the Lions-Ravens. They probably do play the North, so maybe Pittsburgh's line will make it tough on the run a little bit. Baltimore clearly when they play the Ravens. Well, after tonight, I don't know about that. So probably not, but maybe you can't rule them out, especially if Matabike comes back, who was not playing tonight. I'll say that later. The interconference game, I think they play somebody in the AFC West. So if they were third, did they play Denver? I have to look it up. Either way, UOGs know based on interconference matches. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. Matt Golden, he caught a big play late in the fourth. and then he went out of bounds. And I saw the highlight today, and I'm like, you could not run that corner, but you go out of bounds? Maybe it was a concentration issue where, like, he caught it, like, over the shoulder, and he just felt like, okay, you know what, let me worry about feet and not worry about, like, grass, which that would make sense, but still, with his speed, I'm surprised. But I don't expect Green Bay to play that bad. I actually thought the defense played solid. I mean, they got to Flacco twice, Rashawn Gary 2 sacks. They held the Browns to 13 points. Xavier McKinney had a pick. Your offense let you down today. Let you down. That defense did its job. 13 points. Yeah, they gave up the drive that gave the game-winning field goal up. I know. But if you sit back, Jordan Love, you scored 10 points. That ain't good enough, man. That ain't good enough. So I look at this game and say, the defense of Green Bay is still really good. They're going to be fine. They won't be that bad a lot of times. But they were good. Their offense couldn't produce. Jordan Love, I know they lost Jaden Reed for a little bit of time with the broken collarbone. Those young receivers, I expect them to step up as the season progresses and moves forward. I don't think they'll run the ball that bad again, but give credit to Cleveland's defensive line. They won up front. They got to Jordan Love. They stopped the run. That was basically the biggest reason the Browns won the game. Because Joe Flacco threw the ball 36 times. Threw a pick. Didn't throw it in the end zone. That rookie Judkins, he started to take on a bigger role with the carries. We know Stefanski's going to run the football with his backs, a lot like Campbell. Interesting Lions and Browns styles will meet and collide next week. We'll save that more for Thursday. But Judkins, 18 carries for 94 yards and a score. Their wide receivers didn't do much because Green Bay's defense has a young secondary that actually did good. 5 sacks, though. Now, Schweschinger, the linebacker, had 1. Garrett's had a half a sack with Malik Collins actually a sack and a half, which is kind of crazy to think about. Mason Graham had half a sack, and then Aiden Huntington, who, oof, man, that front four, my God. Grant Delpit, a really underrated safety, he got a pick. So, again, Cleveland's defense won up front. That was the biggest thing, and that unit is going to be very, very disruptive. It's going to give a lot of quarterbacks problems. Little reason why I'm hesitant on picking up Goff in fantasy, although I do see the upside if you do it. Again, but the Lions are in a dome, which is huge. But again, big win, short week. We'll save it for next week. Green Bay, though, just 14 penalties, that was a lot. I know I'm going back to some numbers, but I had to share that a little bit. But am I concerned with the Packers following this loss? No, not really. Not really. Even though the offense did not look good, I'm not concerned with them. I think they'll be fine. Their defense did enough to win. Offensively, I think they will not be as bad more often. Now, if we see this over a stretch of 4 to 5 games, I'd be a little more worried. This is an outlier. I wouldn't panic if I'm the Packers. They'll be okay. Let's go to, okay, here's the game I want to talk about. I want to talk about Rams-Eagles because I didn't watch this game because I was watching my Patriots play the Steelers, and don't get me started on that game right now because I was talking to my uncle early in the day, and I'm going to share something later on that game. I don't want to make this whole thing on it, but let me go to the Eagles-Rams because I saw this game from a distance while watching the Patriots-Steelers game, and the Rams had command in this game. They had the Eagles right where they wanted them to. And then all of a sudden, the Eagles turned up where they're like, okay, let's see if we can open this game up on our terms. And they did. And special teams was the biggest reason they won that game. They blocked 2 field goals. I think both were in the fourth quarter too. Think about that for a second. 2 blocked field goals. And everybody on Twitter is complaining, oh, but you called the Chiefs lucky when they do these ways that they win. It's amazing how Eagles fans and the Eagles live rent-free in the Chiefs fans and Chiefs bandwagons' heads. And we're over 7 months since the Super Bowl. The bandwagon should be worried about how bad they're looking right now and not worried about the team that just kicked their ass last week and who kicked their ass 7 months ago. Maybe you should be worried about your own team. But let's get back to this game. The Eagles, Jalen Hurts, 21 of 32, 326 yards, 3 touchdowns. No picks. I mean, he didn't turn it over. He got a rushing touchdown. He just wins. He just wins. And you can't really say anything, oh, but he doesn't put the best stats up. Well, if we're counting wins as a stat, that's the end of the day what matters. And yes, they haven't looked great, but when you see 26-7 early in the third, and they're down by 19, and they've got that championship DNA, okay, buckle that chin strap. Get ready to get in a fight because you're down 20 nearly at home. What's your answer going to be? And they answered. They answered. Think about this. They went on a 26-0 run following that score. That's insane. That's the same amount of points the Rams scored for the game. The Eagles matched that total in a half. And they didn't play great doing that up until that point. AJ Brown, you fucking killed me in fantasy this week. But boy, did you make clutch plays when you needed it for them. 6 for 109 and a touchdown. For all these people thinking he's going to get traded, it ain't happening. I've seen my own fans think AJ Brown's going to get traded. Stop. It ain't going to happen. I'm a real one. I'll tell you straight up if it's going to happen. It ain't happening. Get that thought out of your head. The Eagles are keeping AJ Brown, okay? And no, I'm not going by sources and shit. I know this for a fact. They're not trading AJ Brown. Get that thought out of your head, Patriot fans. Seriously. We're not getting AJ Brown. I'm a real one. I'm saying this. Devontae, 8 catches, 60 yards and a touchdown. Dallas Goedert got in the end zone. They got their big receivers involved. That's a good sign. And this is when Saquon didn't even really do that great. And I'm mad at myself, guys. Because you guys know that when you have certain props you like and you're like, oh, yeah, I love it this week. There's no way that this doesn't happen, right? But then you're like, shit. It might happen because I'm scared this might happen. And then when you get backed off and then you're like, fuck, I should have stuck with my damn gut on this. That was me with Saquon Barkley under rushing yards. I was saying it all week. Well, off camera. And I'm like, and I'm mad at myself, guys, as you can tell. I'm mad at myself right now for that. But I'm mad at for a lot of other reasons right now. Their defense got shredded up until they went on their run. And Jordan Davis, he had a sack. He had a blocked field goal twice. Even a touchdown for him on special teams. Zach Bond had a pick. Look, they find ways to win, and it's weird. Listen, we said the same thing about the Chiefs, that, that's what they do. They find ways to win, right? And I said how weird it was that they won, right? And how it won't keep happening like this. And I'm here to tell you that I don't think Philly's going to win this way a lot. But, again, they got a tough one next week. We're going to save a lot of that for Thursday, but the Eagles, it's crazy how in one half they matched the Rams' point total for the entire game. It's crazy. And the Rams just could not answer from that point on. I don't know what McVay was thinking after that second touchdown, but, it was very surprising. I mean, Stafford, he played okay and then got quiet, right? Their running game, 20 times. Stafford threw 33 times, completed 19 passes. Okay, and then Puka, 11 for 112. Devontae, 3 catches, 56 yards, and a touchdown. He produced for me in fantasy. He's not one of them I'm mad at. Kyron caught a touchdown out of the backfield. Okay, so what happened then? The offensive line gave up 1 sack. So the defense sold? No, because they gave up 4 sacks, but then again, their secondary just could not cover A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. That's a tough duo to defend. It is. But the Rams defense, when they needed to stop, they couldn't get one. And this is a good Rams team. But they had to close that deal, and they had multiple chances, and they couldn't do it. And again, the Eagles, you know what? I'm going to say this again. Remember this for Thursday. Certain teams have certain numbers on certain teams. It used to be, well, Miami has the number for my team, right? Well, New England beat Miami, right? Oh, but Rich, if you say that, then why did the Eagles beat the Rams again? I just outlined it for you. But remember, Tampa has the Eagles number going into this week. They've beaten them 1 time since 2021. That's the only thing I'm giving you for that preview right now. Okay? Both teams struggled on 3rd down. Eagles went 4 or 5 on 4th down, similar to my team, actually. Here you go. The Rams 1 for 4 in the red zone. You lost by 7. Yep, that's going to do it for you. That's what's going to do it for you. Got to cash in the right area. And Philly's a good defense, although the points and the yards might not say otherwise, but that's a good defense. They just haven't shown it, but they did very well against Kansas City and Dallas. You know, opening week, you don't know with Jalen Carter being out and stuff, so that's that. All right. I got to vent for a little bit. So, sorry, guys, but I got to vent. I am dumbfounded by this. Carolina shut out the Falcons 30-0. Now, those that paid attention, I picked Atlanta in Survivor. Lucky for me, it was my 3rd pull. So my weakest of the 3 is out. No worry there. Okay? I thought Atlanta would be able to hold up against Carolina. I really did. Because I'm like, you know what? If Atlanta's got that defense that played against Minnesota, can you imagine Bryce Young? Bijan, you should be able to run the football. Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Darnell Mooney, should be able to throw it too. Oh, wait. They didn't throw it with Penix. Why? Guys, you got to know signs what a team is through these first 3 to 4 weeks. It might even be 6 for some teams. I watched Atlanta, Minnesota, because I had Bijan Robinson to go anytime touchdown. He didn't get it that week, but I could tell early on Atlanta's going to run 2 backs, and they're going to not test anything deep. They're going to be like, okay, throw underneath, and that's it. But it's run, 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 run. Okay, we'll throw a play outbreaker to London. We'll throw an outbreaker to Mooney. Maybe an inside play to Pitts. They just are such a pedestrian offense. And it's like, no wonder why you didn't blow out the Vikings when you had the opportunity to. Because you don't fucking get creative. Now, people could argue, is defense getting better through the first 3 weeks at some points with allowing the big plays, allowing less big plays than what we've been used to seeing, because the fans love offense. I would say in some components it has. But I think it's also, there is a way to do big plays with a too high safety look. But I wonder why teams don't do it that way. Is it a personnel issue? It is with some teams. I also think it's some sort of a deal with coaching. Now, I'm not a big Raheem Morris fan. And I had to look this up today, too, because I need to know who the Falcons' offensive coordinator was. A, because I got Bijan Robinson in fantasy, who, by the way, actually did solid for me. He wasn't a guy I'm mad at. I'm partially mad at him for not scoring, but he's not the main person I'm mad at for this game. And I looked this up today. Can we put an APB out for Zach Robinson of the Falcons? That's their offensive coordinator, by the way. What the fuck were you doing in this game plan? What are you... I gotta look at this, okay? So, you run the ball 23 times. You give Bijan 13 carries for 72 yards. You give him 5 catches for 39 yards on 6 targets. So you really gave the Bijan 20 touches roughly, rushing and receiving. And Michael Penix throws 172 yards and 2 picks. Yet your offensive line doesn't give up a sack. So what the fuck were you game planning for, bro? The stupidity of some teams where I just go, this is your formula to win games? This is what you're doing? And I say to myself, and I have good eyes where I can see, okay, this ain't gonna work. You gotta let this kid throw a little bit. But he had to throw it in this game because they were down fucking all game and they hadn't scored. Like, here's what I don't get. Why don't you let this kid throw a little bit? You drafted him 8th overall, I think. 8th overall, let's say. You're going to tell me you're scared to let him throw? Now, my old man told me, well, Brady's right with all these quarterbacks being thrown into the fire and you expect too much out of them. That is partially true. But I countered with Penix's point for this reason. You had 3 games last year where you got to see what he could do. You had an entire offseason to get him more acclimated with the system from year 1 to year 2. Building off of the 3 games he played well in. You had 2 games that you could see, okay, can he throw more? What's his strengths? But you still show you're just a run, and then maybe we'll throw an outbreaker. Maybe we'll throw an in-cut play to Pitts. That's it. Is this, like, I don't understand what we're doing on offense if you're the Falcons. Listen, Bijan, I love Bijan. I got him in fantasy. I drafted him 2nd overall. And he's been one of my most consistent players for my fantasy team, even though I'm 0-3. But I'm not mad at him for 0-3. But there is no reason you should not have scored 0 points in this game. You should have scored at least 1 or 2 touchdowns. Now, again, I got to look at all the numbers because I'm dumbfounded by this. Drake London has 5 catches for 55 yards. Mooney, 4 for 44. Pitts, 4 for 39. Okay, but your offensive line didn't give up a sack. Your defense sold. Yeah, but your offense has to learn to score points. Yeah, the defense is definitely going to be majority of the blame, and they absolutely deserve to. But 5 of 13 on 3rd down is actually just not that great. You completely abandoned the run once you were down 3 scores. You did. 3 turnovers will get you killed too. And Penix did not take care of the ball. He did not. Zach Robinson, do you even know how to fucking, develop a quarterback? We need to put an APB out for you. What the fuck were you doing this week? Seriously. Some of these coordinators, I'm like, do y'all know how to call a game? Do y'all know how to call a game? Damn. You can't even get the ball to your best player. Oh, when you do, you still can't score. Falcons, you got on my bad side this week. You got a goose egg against the Panthers, who barely almost beat the Cardinals last week. Okay, they almost came back. That's the one good thing about Carolina heading into this week. They looked awful against Jacksonville the week before. But you couldn't even fucking score a point against the Panthers. Zach Robinson, you are a shit coordinator. Raheem Morris, listen, he had one good year with Tampa. I just don't think he's it. I don't think he's that good of a coach as a head coach. Might be a solid coordinator, but even times he blows major leads on defense. Did you remember Atlanta blowing some of those leads? Yeah. He ain't it. But Bryce Young, he did all right. 16 to 24 for 121 yards. No touchdowns, no picks. So, Rich, how did they score 30 points? Good question. Well, Chuba didn't score. He had 73 yards and 17 carries. But Rico Dowdle, actually Bryce Young had a rushing touchdown. Their passing game was just, Their defense, they had no sacks. Oh, wait. Penix threw a pick 6. Yeah, that'll get you beat. The defense got you 2 picks, which for Carolina, that's huge. That's huge. But their running game, their defense, that was a big part of why. And that's, when you think about it, that's good for Carolina. Because that is something that I think for them, they need. Okay? They weren't great on third down. They did commit a ton of penalties. But Atlanta, you guys, Zach Robinson, you are the fucking shittiest offensive coordinator, one of the shitty offensive coordinators right now in the game. Because you've gone regressing fast since Tampa, and it's like, wow, you guys just think, yeah, we're going to run with Bijan, and nobody's going to be able to stop the run. Okay, well, Carolina did okay against you. But what happens when you need to score points? Oh, you're scared to let Penix throw? Then why did you draft him 8th overall then? Come on, man. I mean, I'm not saying that, you know, he should light it up every week. No. But you got to see what he's made of as, you know, a throwing thing. Well, we saw this game. He played awful. But I just I'm questioning if Atlanta's using their skill guys to their absolute ceiling on offense. Because they have material. Bijan, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Darnell Mooney. There's no reason that offense should not be scoring any points against Carolina. There's no reason. 0. Pathetic that it got to this point where they look awful. Texans, Jaguars. I'm going to spend a little time on this because I got to vent on CJ Stroud. And I've always liked this guy from when he came into the league as a rookie. I know wasn't the biggest fan when he came out of Ohio State, but he won me over his rookie season. Second year, I thought they were going to be a really good team, and then they faded down, and that offensive line play, it's bad. It's bad. I watched Tampa after the opening drive. They struggled. But what bothers me is they can't run the football, and they're banking on Nico Collins and Stroud to win, and nobody else is stepping up for them. And that defense, again, another case of offense, we need more from you. And they can't do it. You held Jacksonville to 17. Your offense has to produce. And they scored 10 fucking points? Guys, let's think about this for a second. The Texans were a playoff team for 2 straight years. Now you're looking at 0-3. The Colts are 3-0. And the Jaguars just beat you, and they're 2-1. And you play Tennessee next week in a bottom of the basement. There's some serious problems with them. Offensively, at least. Defensively, I think they're going to be fine. Because the Tampa game was really the one drive where Baker Mayfield came back and had a game-winning drive. But that defense has been playing solid. Their offense has let them down significantly. through 3 weeks. And Stroud is a very good quarterback. But I am dumbfounded that, again, he throws 2 picks. They get sacked twice, but they can't develop a running game. What is the Texans' identity this season? What are you guys going to be? You guys start finding out right now. Because if you don't, you guys are going to be up there for the most disappointing teams this season. I know I picked chalk, division winners. If y'all remember, I did pick Jacksonville to make a wild card. So I wouldn't say I picked chalk when it comes to wild card teams. Division winners, probably. And that's usually the hardest part for me, right? Sometimes. Jacksonville, again, Trevor just, he didn't really do anything great either. 20 of 40, 222 yards, a pick. Etienne and Bashal Tootin, I hope I got the name right. He had a touch. They ran the ball well, and then it was Brian Thomas and Bretton Strange from a receiving standpoint, and then their passing game just was more spread out. Their defense had 2 sacks, 2 takeaways. Again, the defense of Jacksonville, much better than what they were last week. Something I did not expect. But Trevor didn't play great, and they won. So that's crazy to think. In the games Jacksonville has won, Trevor hasn't played outstanding. But when he does play outstanding, the defense lets him down. But the defense has beaten the Texans and the Panthers, who are combined 1-5. I'm just saying, I ain't celebrating really if I'm, looking at it from how the Jags are winning games. But they won. They beat a key division, opponent, which helps. But you got some issues that, again, they can fix. All right? It takes these teams a while because usually the defense is ahead of the offense. But, man, it's, it's rough. I said I was going to spend briefly on them. Broncos, Chargers. Denver blows it again. Missed field goal. Justin Herbert, 47 times he threw it. And you got to feel for Najee Harris because Najee Harris is done for the year, torn Achilles. But Denver, you guys find ways to blow games. And you know what? It's gut check time up in Denver. Because the defense has given up 29 and 23. And the offense has scored 26 and 20. That defense does not look like a top 5 unit. I benched you in fantasy this week. I've never felt more satisfied to bench you. Because I just did not have a good feeling with you guys this week. Now it's gut check time. You play Cincinnati next Monday night. You got to get right. If you can't get right next week, that wild card spot is going to start fading. Oh, but it's 4 games in if they lose. No. I'm telling you, the AFC, from a top to bottom, there's very few bad teams in the AFC. Very few. The competition is close. Denver had a really good camp in preseason. You beat the lowly Titans. And then when you had to play the Colts and the Chargers on the road, you've lost by a field goal in both of those games. Your defense has not been top 5 unit. Chargers, they look legit throwing the ball. I'm just shocked that they didn't run it. They finally showed a glimpse of Omari and Hampton. Another guy I'm not mad at that cost me a game. I'm more mad at CJ Stroud, but when I'm looking at the numbers, all the Texans can do is throw because they don't have a running game. But still, 10 points for fantasy for Stroud was inexcusable. But I'm not mad at Omari and Hampton. He actually put up 24, 26 points, I think, roughly. Okay? Bandwagons, and we're not even going into your game. I had a conversation with a Giants fan earlier today with the fact that the Giants should wait till week 5 to play Jaxson Dart. And he agreed with me. And I had the same conversation with my uncle earlier today. He's like, yeah, that's a good way of laying it out because you don't want to throw them to the Wolves against the Chargers, who are unbeaten. that defense suffocates up front, and you don't want him to lose his confidence. Saints, winnable game, see what he's made of. If Dayball and them can't beat the Saints, and they go to 0-5, he's done. I can bank that right now. And I'm not going by sources. I'm going by my opinion here. I'm not going by any sources. I'm going by my opinion. If they go 0-5, losing to the Saints with Dart starting, and they don't look better offensively, then it's going to be, he might be gone. So now I'm going to go to, I'm not going to get the Jets Tampa much because I will make one thought. Two things can be true of this. The Jets are competitive, but can't close a game out, and their defense is awful. And the Bucs, Baker Mayfield just knows how to play great in the 2-minute drill, and he's 3 for 3 this season. And that is great for when you have a chance to win a game. But you always can't rely on that every time. That's a problem. Now, do I think Tampa will be fine? They're going to be okay. They got to learn to pull away against those teams. Atlanta was a little different. That was back and forth. Texans, they were behind, right? The Jets, you cannot have that special teams gaffe happen again, but it was basically the theme of the week. Block field goals, return for touchdowns. Happened a lot. But Tampa, you got to learn to pull away. Because if you don't put that foot on the gas pedal and know how to pull away, you're going to be in trouble and you're going to be sweating a lot of games. And you're probably not going to win as much as you would expect you to. Although I still expect them to win the division with ease because Atlanta sucks offensively. Zach Robinson doesn't know how to call a game. Carolina, I'm not expecting much from them. And the Saints, well, they're the team I pick on in Survivor a lot. So, you should win that division pretty convincingly. I expect them to be fine. But can't expect to pull away. Now, the Jets, defensively, it's going to be brutal. It's going to be brutal. They do show some fight. Give them that. Their offense, Garrett Wilson or bust, it feels like. Breece Hall occasionally. But that offense, you're lucky Miami is in a very bad reeling spot. And they could win next week. We'll save it for Thursday. But the Jets, they can play tough. But they're another team closing out games. Speaking on the theme of closing out games, who do you guys think I'm going to talk about next? Not today's game. That's next. My Patriots. Now, I watched this game, and I was losing my mind on X. And I feel like I'm not going to be one of these people that says, oh, the Steelers suck. Their offense, Aaron Rodgers played horrible. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. And I'm not saying this because I have a friend of mine that's a Steelers fan. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. It is very hard to win a game when you turn the ball over 5 times and you expect to win. It is very hard to win a game that way. Vrabel knew it. What frustrates me is Ramondre Stevenson, you came up clutch against Miami last week. We gave you the flowers. But 7 lost fumbles since 22. Hit the bench. You got to learn to protect the ball. If you can't protect the ball, you're a liability on the field. I played football. I remember doing ball security drills in high school. I don't look like I played football, but trust me. I've been in practices where it's a ball security drill. And you know what happened if you coughed the ball up in practice? Your ass had to get down and do 20 push-ups. I had to do that. Yeah. And then I was like, you know what? I'm not letting it happen again. But Mondre, he fumbled the ball twice on the ground. I love that Vrabel had to put him on bench. Love it. People say, oh, well, you can't kill his confidence that way. And I'm not saying Vrabel didn't say all the right things. He did. But when you turn the ball over the way Ramondre did, you won't win games. You won't win games. Drake May. I know he's in his second year, guys. I know he's young. But there are correctable mistakes that can be fixed. He throws the ball a little too high sometimes. And I think that's because he's a little nervous sometimes. Settle down, Drake. We know your offensive line ain't great. But you got to just deliver it on the numbers. You say, you know on the jersey they got the numbers. Deliver it on the numbers or deliver it on the helmet if you got a bigger receiver and you want to go high. Don't go over his helmet and expect him to jump, especially when you got a defender like right here and your tight end is like right here. Unless you know he can take the hit. But ideally, you don't want to throw him hospital balls. Okay? You got to put the ball better than being too high. But you also got to learn when to get rid of the fucking ball. And you knew it all game, I'm sure, Vrabel and Josh McDaniels said, TJ Watt and Cam Hayward are going to disrupt up front. If TJ Watt's closing out, get rid of the ball. What happens? 2 sacks. He strip sacks Drake May. Fumble. They score the other way. Now, I'm not even mad at the defense. They actually did good after the first 2 drives of the game where I'm like, do we not know how to defend the run? And they did better. Hell, Walmart linebacker, Robert Spillane, actually did good for once. He actually did good. Finally had a game. So, the defense outside of the first 2 drives of the game did really good. Now, the last drive, Marcus Jones didn't fucking turn his head and get upfield. Don't even get me started on that. I don't know why the safety took one way. Again, I think Marcus Jones, there's a reason we've seen you play both ways. There's a reason you ain't really a big top 3 corner on the roster right now. But that ain't the real reason. The real reason was the turnovers was number 1. I won't make excuses. But I'm very frustrated with Josh McDaniels once again. Yes, they're trying to be efficient. That's good. Demario Douglas. Before I unload on Josh McDaniels again. Demario Douglas. Why are you allergic to falling forward? Why are you worried about backstepping on 4th and 2? Just fall forward like this. And you get the first down. No, you try to dance like you're on Dancing with the Stars. Hop stepping backwards. And your fucking stupid ass cost us the game. You're a fucking idiot. And then your response after the game made me go, yank his ass on the bench. He ain't producing. Get him the fuck out. Done. I watched my team preseason. I don't know why I said our team. I watched my team preseason. Trevion Henderson and Gibson should be getting more of the carries. They should split. They said they were fine with it. And Kyle Williams, who people loved in our draft class. He takes the top off the defense. Josh McDaniels, why are you not taking more than 1 deep shot for the entire game? What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? Are you allergic to going deep? Did Bill fucking put some kind of fucking mind control hat on you? Don't throw deep. Why are you afraid to throw deep? You have a quarterback with a better arm than Mac Jones. You have a better quarterback than Cam Newton had with the arm in 2020. Why are you allergic to throwing deep more than once a game? Why? He can run, this kid. Now, he had to scramble when he had to. But he has a better arm than Mac Jones and Cam Newton did. Why don't you take more than 1 deep shot a quarter? You only took 1 deep shot the whole game. Why? It's, guys, you see what these play calls fucking do to me? Why? are you that scared to take a shot downfield? They played single wide. I'm like, bro, throw it. Throw it deep. Test these DBs. One of them got hurt middle of the game, Darius Slay. And they fucking didn't even try him. You can't make this kid Mac Jones and Tom Brady with basic point guard off. Yes, at times, but you've got to stretch the defense vertically. You're a ground and pound team. Vrabel wants to run. Okay, get the safeties creeping down in the box. Hit a bang. What a fucking over route. Hit him with a bang 8. Hit him vertically. Get the Bill Belichick mind control hat off, Josh McDaniels. I am allergic to throwing deep. Get that off your fucking head and fucking be like, you know what? I got to stretch the defense vertically. I got to make sure I keep them on their heels. You've got to be able to have that element in your offense. If you can't, the safeties are going to be like, all right, you know what? We could bring 9 in the box and be like, okay, we'll cover underneath and then get to May. That's it. But offensively, shit. The Steelers, Jalen Warren somehow went off against us. Never would have expected that. And again, when you got Darnell Washington, DK Metcalf, there's no way to defend a physical receiver because the ref's just going to throw a flag and go, pass interference, defense, number 28. Ball will be spotted half the distance to the goal, first down. That's all they're going to do because you can't defend big receivers. So that's a problem. But I still have faith that there is a path to 10-7. The issues are correctable, but I am very concerned about this offense and what it looks like. Now let me go to Lions-Ravens because this is the game I'm really mad at right now. So, Jameis Williams, I had in fantasy tonight. Start off the game great. And then Dan Campbell's like, all right, we had enough of you. Everybody gets the ball but Jameson Williams. And now I'm 0-3 in my own fucking fantasy league. That's how rough my weekend was. Didn't hit a bet yesterday. Didn't have my fantasy team win again. Patriots lost. Chiefs bandwagons won. Not a great weekend for me, but I refuse to take it out on you great people because you love watching the content. Never will do it. But I am clearly pissed off right now at a lot of things. That includes players I have in fantasy. Dan Campbell, I know you like to run the ball like crazy. Did you not watch what Buffalo did? Do you realize you have players like Buffalo that can actually torch the Ravens on defense? Yet Jared Goff threw one touchdown pass, and that was to Amon-Ra St. Brown, which was a great throw on a double move. And I'm going, you couldn't do that with Jameson Williams to get me like 8.2 points to win a game? No. We'll give it to Amon-Ra St. Brown. They gave a no-name more targets than Jameson Williams. But the Ravens, let me say this. I'll get to you in a minute because there's a lot I'm going to go off on them. The Lions ran 38 times for 224 yards, nearly 6 yards a clip, and 4 touchdowns. That is astonishingly surprising. Because when I think of the Ravens, man, I would never expect that to ever happen. But it did. And I go, man, talented roster in the league, and you're getting fucking bullied up front by a team that just says, yeah, we ain't scared of you. And this is a new OC. Ben Johnson's gone. He did great with Caleb Williams yesterday with the Bears against the Cowboys. And this guy, John Morton, who I guess he's allergic to throwing the ball, which, you know, I mean, this game it worked, but against the Bears, you didn't mind. And then he had to throw against Green Bay when he had to. But against the Ravens, oh no, we can't throw it with Goff. But frustrating. Frustrating that my guys in fantasy cannot produce. And you guys saw my team. It's not shit. Brutal. Now, the defense actually surprised me. 7 sacks on Lamar Jackson. That's a lot. They got after him. They really did. Al-Quadon Muhammad, Aiden Hutchinson, Barnes. That front absolutely overwhelmed him. And the Lions, this was a big win for them. This was a big win for them. To drop 38 on Baltimore and the way they did it, that doesn't happen a lot. Now the Ravens. John Harbaugh, oh man. You guys heard me criticize him week 1, blowing a 15-point lead. This analytics shit, hold me to this stat, guys, please. When did John Harbaugh start relying on analytics? It had to be since 2019, because that's the last time, well, the first time actually, that I remember him being so heavily involved in analytics with his decision making. But it feels like to me every fucking time he relies on analytics, it never goes well. Like, I have several games I can pinpoint to where analytics failed you and you never fucking learn. So when do we hold you accountable? Can we ever? As the media, can we ever hold John Harbaugh accountable for blowing games because of his analytic strategy that I could argue has hurt the Ravens more than it has helped him? It has hurt them more. How many games can you go, yeah, that analytic ideology has helped the Ravens win games? How many games can you name? I can't name many. I can't name many. And Lamar Jackson, I have said he's gotten better as a passer. But I will tell you one thing that I saw in this game, and I said, there it is. This dude looks to run about probably 60%, 60-40. He wants to run more than he wants to throw it. And when he can't run around because guys aren't open or there's no lanes for him to run, what does he do? He throws a fucking temper tantrum. And because, Lamar, you've gotten better as a passer, but some games, man, you got to learn to just be a pocket passer, which you've done before. But when you run, teams know you for your athleticism. You can't look to run every fucking time because they can go, oh, he's running, sprint! And then what happens, Lamar? You force things too much, which you've thrown picks in the playoffs before. Lamar, you've been better as a pocket passer. Some games you won't be able to run like you do. And you have to adjust to what defenses are doing to you. Which you have done. But when he can't run because there's no lanes that open up and guys aren't open, he starts throwing tantrums. Derrick Henry, the fumble, right on cue. The collapse happens again. And again, I'm not blaming on Derrick Henry. He had a pretty solid day. But at some point, this defense, what do you do well? And don't say anything about the Cleveland game because Cleveland is not really that great. You have the same record as the Browns. But the fact that now one of the Ravens or the Chiefs is going to be 1-3 after Sunday, that is shocking. One of them has the best roster argument in the league, while the other one is coming off 3 straight Super Bowl appearances and was a team that basically is considered the dynastic team of the 2020s. So one team has the better roster, considered to be a top 2 or 3 team in the AFC. I don't consider them, by the way. I don't. You can argue with the wall with me on that. They are not a top 3 team in the AFC. On paper, yeah. But based on what I saw today, no. Chargers are better. Bills are better. And then, right now, the Colts are better than you. The Colts are better than you. Yeah. Yeah, they are. They are. Because you haven't done shit. You can't stop a nosebleed. You can't stop the pass. You can't stop the run. You're in an identity crisis on defense. What the fuck can you do well? And you're going to find out real soon. Because guess who you play? You play the Chiefs. And Lamar has not beaten the Chiefs much. So, you should be better against a Chiefs offense that looks horrible. I don't know if we can definitively say that that's going to be the answer. I rest my case on that. But the Ravens, John Harbaugh, it's time to seriously find out what you are. Because right now, if you go to 1-3, yeah, they can recover, but you need to find out what you are. Mainly on defense. What the fuck are you? Because, and by the way, Harbaugh, ditch the analytic model, the ideology. You are not helping your team with it. You are losing games. Find me the game where the analytic mindset actually helps you win games. Can't find it. I'm going to briefly touch on college football for a little bit because I know I've been on a tangent. AP poll came out. Miami is now 2 behind Ohio State. And Oregon, Georgia, top 5. I think Penn State's 3. Oklahoma vaulted to 7. I watched a little bit with Auburn. When Material needed to make some plays, he did that. He should be the Heisman frontrunner right now. Florida State dipped to 8. I think A&M is at 10. Texas Tech is, I think, 12. Indiana dominated Illinois, which I did not. I said I had Indiana winning. Did I expect them to dominate? No. And I'll look at my notes now, too. And then Arizona State Baylor, that wasn't going to be an over. So that was bad. Tulane did not cover. And the one bet I did pull, guys, that actually ended up happening. South Carolina plus 10.5 against Missouri. Yeah, I'm kicking myself for that. Yeah, I had 17-13. I was dead wrong. Mendoza for Indiana, they look good. They look good. But I think, you know what? It was a nice win against a top 10 team at home. It was nice. Signetti deserves a lot of credit. He does. Even though I criticize him for talking shit. But they look good. But again, you got a big schedule. I need to see what you do with the big boys. Because last year when you played Ohio State and Notre Dame, you got beat down, bum rushed, and ran out the door. Now let's see what you do against the big boys. That's how I'm judging you by. You beat Illinois at home? But are we really considering Illinois a big boy, though? Well, it was top 10 team, Rich. I know, but you know big boys in the Big Ten. Ohio State, Michigan, Oregon, Penn State. I wouldn't say USC, but those 4, 100% that I mentioned earlier, big boys in the Big Ten. Tell me what you do against those teams today, and let's come back. That's what I'm judging you by. Anyway, guys, Nick Bosa also out for the season with a torn right ACL. Man, it's always hurt, and I feel for this dude because he is a stud when he's healthy. But the Niners barely escaped with a win against the Cardinals, stayed at 3-0. But that's a crushing loss for the Niners because that's their best defensive player. Again, the injury bug starts to hit him again. Earlier with Kittle banged up, CMC with a tough workload. You always know he's injury prone. Purdy, Jennings. The injury bug hits him again. And that's why again, they should be a wild card team, but when the injury bug hits, I start thinking there's other teams that have a chance, and I think that's what's going to happen. But they're 3-0, surprisingly, which give Lynch and Shanahan a lot of credit for them being 3-0. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Lounge Time. Hope you guys enjoyed the analysis episode. Make sure you guys hit that like button. the notification bell, that subscribe button, so that way you guys can get all the latest content for this NFL season. We're just getting started. 3 weeks down, we got a lot more to go. We will have guests on later this season. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. We got a lot of fun action to get into. You can also follow us on Rumble. Yes, we have episodes on Rumble. You can check us out. Hey, you can also follow us there. All right? And then also, you can follow me at LoungeTimePod on X. Yes, I tweet during games. And if you have a question for the show, I have no problem answering it. That's what I'm going to do. And hey, if you got a question, let me know. I'll answer it on the show. But Thursday, I'll see you guys back. We're going to do Week 5 college football, Week 4 of the NFL. We'll go over survivor picks. We'll go over guarantees. And we will go over picks like we do again. And this time, I'll have a record for you on how I'm doing so far with picks-wise. All right, now guarantees and shit, probably awful. But game picks, pretty solid. And I will try to find some upsets. But anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this episode of The Analysis. I'll see you guys on Thursday to predict all the action for the upcoming weekend. Enjoy the middle of the week, and I'll see you guys on Thursday.